Hey, welcome back, all you beautiful bulletproof handymen and women. So today I'm going to show you how to create an estimate or a quote. You can call it either one that you want to call it. And the first thing we're going to do is go into the settings where you can decide whether you want your platform to refer to them as estimates or quotes. You can change this setting and it will populate that across the entire platform to use your preferred terminology between quotes or estimates, whichever one. I do want to remind you all real quick before we dive into here, I have consistent webinars on how to use Jobber. If you go to the description of this video, you'll find a link to get yourself registered. There's also a link in the description to download a free 14-day trial, which comes with 20% off for the first 6 months. So diving in here, if you'll go up to the top right under that gear icon right there and select settings, and then within your settings over here, you're going to come down to branding. It's right under company settings. Click on branding. And then I want you to come over here where it says PDF style and click change PDF style. And within the PDF style, you're going to go ahead and click on quotes right next to style. Click on quotes and it says refer to quote as estimate in PDFs, Client Hub, and customer communications. So if you want it to say quotes, don't uncheck this box. If you want it to say estimates, check this box. You can go either way. So I'm going to leave it as quotes here, and I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. And now it's always going to say quotes. So let's go back to our home screen because we want to start all of our tutorials from the home screen, and we want to create a quote. So guess what? Surprise, surprise. If you click create, then you can click quote. And that's going to take you in here to build a quote. So the first thing we're going to do is select our client by clicking this plus icon here. I already have my clients loaded in. If you've never had any clients in here yet, you'll need to load yours by clicking new client, or maybe the software already prompted you since you don't have any to just put in a new client. But you can click new client, or you can just select the ones that you have. If you have a whole bunch of them, you can search them. For example, if I wanted to find Fancy Nancy and she was buried down there, I could just say FAN, and then boom, Fancy Nancy filters up to the top. So we're going to select her. Now we need to click a property. Same thing. If you already have properties, they'll be here for you to just go ahead and click. Otherwise, you need to click on create new property to create the new property for this client. And if you wanted to filter, let's say I was looking for San Bernardino, this one here, 6487. So I'll just type in BER. And boom, it just filters it right down. So we go ahead and select that. Once we're in here in the quote, I'm going to copy on everything I do. I'm always going to copy and paste the address, and I'm going to put it in the title, and I'm going to follow up by saying estimate. Or if you want to be more specific, you can. But this is the title of the job, and that's how I'm always going to know my jobs, is by at very minimum a street name and a 1 or 2 word description of what the job is all about, really. Then you're going to come up here. If you want to change the quote number, you can. If you want to pretend like you've already got 1,000 quotes under your belt, so you want the quote number to reflect that, you can change that. Salesperson, you can add a salesperson here if you have salespeople and you need to track who's responsible for the sales. Everything else you see down under here, these are all custom fields that I've built for my Jobber account. You can build them for yours too. All you have to do is click custom field, and you can fill this out in a multitude of different ways. You can have numeric, true, false, area, drop-down selections. There's a bunch you can do in here. I will do a separate video, so check out the Jobber how-to playlist, and you'll be able to find my other videos on this. But I'll make a video for creating all your custom fields as well. So as you can see, I have a custom field. For example, client industry. Maybe this one is a commercial property manager. So that's going to be very accessible information always at the top of that job for me to have a quick reference. And it's good to know the year built, because if this is built in 1958, if that property was built that long ago, I'm going to know going into it. Maybe I'm going to be looking for plaster. I'm probably going to have galvanized piping that's rusting out. You're going to glean a lot of information just on knowing when the property was built. But you can add any custom field you want to add down here. Next is going to be the product or service. This is the actual quote. This is the work you're going to do. So you've got a few options here. One is you can just type in, let's call it shed remodel. Somebody wants you to do a bunch of work to the siding and the roof and everything. And then you can come into the description, and if you want, you can just type out pages and pages of description of everything that you're quoting to do to this shed. and then you can come over here and put a total price on it. Maybe you're going to charge, I don't know, $1,200 for all the work. So you can do it that way if you want. The other thing that you can do that I like to do at very minimum is go ahead and have one line that says labor, and I don't do any hourly charges, so I just delete that. That's going to pop up immediately. But I'll say labor, and I'll type out the labor, and then I'll add another line item, and on that next line item, I'm going to say materials, so I'll list the labor here, I'll list the materials here, and I'll put the pricing over here. By the way, within Jobber, for quotes, depending on what plan you're on, I know if you're on the Grow plan for sure, maybe some other plans, you can also add photos to these. So if you want to include a photo on the quote of the thing you're fixing, you can absolutely do that just by clicking on photo and then clicking and uploading the photos that you would like to include on that estimate. We're not going to worry about that right now. And then a few other things that I want to show you on here for your line items is number one going to be add optional line item. I do a lot of these because a lot of these jobs I do are bigger jobs that are long punch lists, and it takes a long time to type things out. So I've made a bunch of line items. And by the way, if you want, you can download my custom line items from my personal Jobber account for my handyman business, and you can upload them into your Jobber account, and you can use them. I don't suggest you use them exactly as they're worded with the pricing that's there, but they're a very good starting point. And the way you'll do that is go to the description of this video or any of my videos, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there is a link you can click to get my free business documents. Click that link, and once you get to the folder of business documents, you're going to be looking for one that says CSV file custom line items. You can download that from me onto your computer, go into your Jobber account, and upload mine into your account. I will make a separate video on how to both export and import line items into Jobber as well, but I do want you to know that those are available, and I'll scroll down here and you can see them. So here's a good example for the first one. It says labor, smoke detector, hardwired, replace, install. I have these systematized. As you can see, if I start scrolling, these all say labor, and then the name of the type of item that I'm working on, and then either a breakdown, a subtype of item, or what I'm actually going to do to it. But let's pretend like we're going to be changing smoke detectors that are hardwired. So we can just click on that. Maybe this house has 5 of them, and they're going to be $10 each. So it automatically updated this section to $50. Now that's just the labor, right? So now we need to add another optional line item. And for this optional line item, let's go to, I'll type in smoke, because this will filter for you. And then we'll look for materials, smoke detector, hardwired. It's right here. It's already got the pricing added. We click on that. It's all good. Change that to a 5 so that our materials quantity matches our labor quantity. And what's going to happen with these line items is if you look down here right now, the subtotal is $0. These are all optional line items if you add them by clicking the Add Optional Line Item button. And what this does for your client is it allows them to stay within their budget by clicking on or off different line items to see what they can afford. You can also use these to offer individual upgrades to other line items as well. Now, what I want you to see here is pay attention to the subtotal line. When I click Recommend Item on these two, it's going to update that subtotal line to include the total cost of those because I recommended them. If I don't recommend them, it's not going to subtotal them out. So when your client initially gets this estimate, they're going to see a grand total. If you want that grand total to include, if they included everything, then go ahead and click on Recommend Item for everything. If instead you want them to see a very tiny number for that grand total, or even a 0, and then build it up from there, then just go ahead and don't click Recommended Item. So you can add as many of these as you want to. Like I said, I've got well over 100 of these, probably up to 150 of these, and you can just click on them, add the quantity, recommend or don't recommend, and then move on over and over and over. The next thing I want to show you is going to be just simply add text. If you click this add text button, this is where you can do notes, and that's usually what I type here is I just say notes, and then I type down any notes that I would like to give the client or the property manager down in the description box. And what makes it unique is that there is no pricing out here. Now, you can also add pictures to your notes if necessary. So let's say we've got all of our line items in. We're going to go ahead and recommend every single item. So let's just turn those all on. We'll leave those two up at the top blank. We've got our grand total down here. If you want to add a discount, for example, senior discount or military discount, you can add that here. If you want to add taxes, if that's applicable in your municipality, you can go ahead and add your taxes here. And then finally, if you're going to add a deposit, you can click Add Deposit Required down here at the bottom. You can give a dollar-based amount. So let's say $50 is our deposit, or you can do a 50% deposit required, but this is going to let them know that you require a deposit. And when they open this quote to approve it, they're going to be able to actually click on a button to approve and pay deposit if you have that as being necessary within your quote. Next line right here is client message, pretty self-explanatory. It's just to send any specific message to the client. And the next line is going to be the contract or disclaimer. It's going to come standard. Your new jobber account is probably going to say this quote is valid for the next 30 days, after which values may be subject to change. You can put anything you want in here. You can write an entire 5-page document for your entire standard contract that you give all of your clients if you want to, and you can put that in here. And then finally down here, internal notes and attachments. The important thing for you to know here is that you can upload pictures, you can upload files, you can type out notes. Anything you put under the internal notes and attachments will stay internal to your company. Your client will never see those unless you take additional steps to actually show that to your client. But these are safely confined within your company. This is where I have my guys type in their work descriptions and upload the pictures of their completed work, which I then transfer over into the invoice. And then finally, you can link the notes to related jobs and invoices if you click that there. So now here at the end, you can either just save the quote, or you can save and send as text message, or save and send as email, save and convert to job, or save and mark as awaiting response. But this is now done. So normally under normal circumstances, I think what y'all are going to be doing is clicking save and send as email. This will get it to the client's email. And when this pops up, you can change the subject line if you want. You can update anything down here that you want to update, put your own personal message in. You can click on here and you can actually add more clients to this if you'd like to. And you can click on this button to add a PDF of this estimate as an attachment to the email. And also, if you did attach any files or photos in the internal documents, this is where you can choose to share that. And there'll be a drop down here. So right where this PDF symbol is right here, beneath that would just be more little boxes, each one representing a different thumbnail of a picture that you have. And you can click on those and you can attach them so that when you send the email, it will send the email out to everybody. Send email, and now you're done. This may or may not send. Looks like it did send. I don't know if the email addresses I had in there were going to work, but this is how you do that. And then if you need to edit it, there's an edit button up top, and under more actions, there's a whole lot of different things you can do. Convert it to a job, create a similar quote. If you click create similar quote, what this is going to do is it's going to carbon copy this quote. And the only difference is going to be you're going to need to choose a new client and a new property address, but everything else that you filled in here is going to stay the same. So if for some reason you're creating duplicate quotes, that's a good way to do it. Again, you can send it as a text message, send it as an email, mark it as approved, archive it, preview it as a client so that you can see what it looks like from the client end. In fact, let's do that real quick. Let's see what it looks like. This is what it looks like right here to the client. Now, what you're not going to have is I didn't put any deposit, so it's not going to say approve and pay deposit. That feature would be here if I had required a deposit. And these buttons are grayed out because this is a demo account, but they'll be able to approve it or request changes. And you can also change this request changes portion, but that's for a much longer future video. So we'll close that out. And this is all done. And then last but not least, you can, if you choose to, collect a signature from the client, or you can download the PDF, or you can print it. And that's just about everything you need to know for the basics of creating quotes. Remind y'all again, I do have a lot of webinars on how to use the Jobber software. Go into the description of this video, and there's some links for you to get yourself registered for those webinars. They're all free, no paywalls on this channel. You can also download my custom line items via the link all the way at the bottom of the description to get my custom documents. And then last but not least, if you'd like a free trial of Jobber, it's a 14-day trial. There's a link in the description, and it's going to come with 20% off for the first 6 months. If y'all have any specific requests for specific Jobber features you'd like me to do more videos on, please just put it in the comments or email me directly at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com, and I'll take those into consideration when I'm choosing which ones to do. And there should be a playlist on this channel that you can click into that's going to be called something to the effect of Jobber tutorials, and you'll be able to scroll through there and see all the other tutorials for Jobber that I've already made. In the meantime, I love you guys. I hope you're out there killing it, and I will see you on the next one.